All right, relatively quick one here today, talking about solving rational inequalities. And we know from our studies from chapter 3 that an inequality we're going to solve just as we would as if it was an equation, a rational equation. Um, we're going to simplify everything we can as much as we can on both sides, doing whatever the order of operations is, right? And then at the bottom of the stairs here, get the variables on one side only if we need to. We're going to add in something new here in this chapter, and that is, can I multiply through, once it's simplified, by the LCM to eliminate the fraction and then solve by undoing, right? And we found out that once we multiply through by the LCM of the denominators, we had a pretty easy one or two step solve equation that we were able to do. Remembering though, when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative sign, you've got to reverse that inequality sign, right? So if I divide by negative 2/3, let's say, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal negative 3/2 of both sides. That would cause me to change a less than to a greater than, or vice versa. All right, so a couple quick examples here. Thinking about 2/3 x plus 4/5 is less than 7/10. Again, simplify. If I think of both sides of the equal sign, there's nothing to simplify over here, nothing to simplify over here. So I can go ahead and start to solve. No variables on both sides, so I'm good with that. But I can multiply through by the LCM of 30. I think that's what I choose to do. You could subtract 4/5 on both sides and get 7/10 minus 8/10 equals negative 1/10. That would be okay. My choice is going to be multiplied through by the LCM of 30 to everything. Again, I'm using those skills from the last chapter and this chapter. Multiply through is going to give me 20x plus 24. Now I multiply by positive 30, so the sign remains a less than, and then 21. And then go ahead and solve this. Subtract 24 to both sides. Divide both sides by 20. And dividing by positive 20. So the sign doesn't change again. It's still a less than. And this seems like a division I don't want to do. So I'm not going to do it. Negative 3/20. Bravo. Okay, so again, this is more of an example of what we would be looking at as far as difficulty goes. We just need to follow the process, and that's simplify as much as possible, get the variables on one side only, and solve by inverse operations. Since there's fractions, we could multiply through by the LCM if we wanted to. I see the inequality, so we need to make sure that if we have to divide or multiply by a negative to both sides, that we flip the sign. So I'm going to give you a couple, I want you to pause this, and then you and I will both do it, and then we'll check our answers together, okay? See you in a minute and a half. Namaste. Okay, so first step, I've distributed the 2/5 into both of these terms here. 2/5 times 15, 6, and then minus, give me 5's cancel, gives me 2/6, which is 1/3 x, and the plus 4. And then the next step here, I've combined my like terms. I've simplified. The 6 plus 4 is 10. Now I'm solving here. You could have chosen maybe to multiply through by 3 here, clear out the denominator. The only denominator was a 3. Could have done that. I chose to just subtract 10 to both sides to get negative 1/3 x is less than or equal to 10. And now I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. Remember, I don't divide fractions. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, so I'm going to multiply by negative 3/1. And since I multiply by a negative to both sides, notice the flip from less than to greater than, and x is greater than or equal to negative 30. So we're going to do a few more examples of this in class, concentrating on things that we've been practicing really since chapter 2 and chapter 3, and that is going through and solving, simplifying as much as we can, variables on one side only. We're adding again, multiply through by the LCM, and solving by inverse operation. All right, thank you, we'll see you in class.